Hey guys, it's me Chinash Abray from my channel Clueless, and in this video, we're going to check out if this book has life-changing advice or not, as it claims on the back. Right? So when I started to read this book, it was kind of like blaming me. It was blaming me for my past. When I read this book, it was constantly like blaming me of the things that I had done in the past. It was a regretful way of doing that, but in the end, I liked this very much because it was like a interesting take on things. It was a fresh take, so I liked this. In the starting, it is like the author says, if you if you want to do something and you are not doing it, that means the mind has the goal to not do it, and you're fulfilling that goal of not doing it by procrastinating on different things. You can do different things in order to not achieve your goal because you do not want to achieve it in your mind. Your mind is not set on the way to achieve the goal. Your mind is not doing the things that you want to do to achieve the goal. So that is theology. When we see ourselves as following through a way to our goals, that is theology. If even if we want to do something and we are doing something else, that means if our mind has the goal to do something else. It doesn't have the goal to go forward and do the thing that you are doing that you want to do, right? It also talks about interpersonal relationship, the connections which we have with other human beings. So talks like it tells like the all the problems in universe arise from interpersonal relationship. Have you ever thought that if you had been alone, you thinking like if you are tall or short, any sort of problems that you have, you're fat or something like that, right? You wouldn't feeling them because there was no one you would be able to compare yourself with. If you were in a lone island and you didn't know that there existed other humans, if you would be fat, you would think that everybody else would also have been the same way because you are the only one. You would generalize itself as yourself. You would not have any other person to look on to, right? You would not compare yourself to anything. You would have yourself to compare on. So it talks about like all these problems come from interpersonal relationships. And in order to stop those problems, one has to go through a process of separation of tasks with other human being. So even if you are in any relationship with another human being, you should go through this separation of tasks in which you should not intervene the other person tasks. If he's doing something or is going some way, you should be able to provide assistance once he asks, but you should not intervene in his task because that is not where we want to go. You do not want to get too close because things get way much worse when you get too close, and when you do not even want to get way too far because that's not the way you want to go with relationships, right? So that was the stuff. And it also talks about, you know, the courage to be normal, to not chase these things such as money and recognition, to not go towards these things rather than chasing something else, like the chasing the things that you really like, chasing your purpose, things like that. It takes very much courage to be as yourself as you are normal. This was shared by the book to me. Yeah. It also talks about self acceptance. It also talks about you self accepting yourself and then doing a contribution towards other human beings as a whole community, which will again lead you to having self acceptance. So that is all a circle which goes on and on, right? And it also talks about you being in a community. You are always in a community. You're always in a community of things which consists of all human beings, all of the things that have come before and will come after. That is the community you are in. Yeah. Let let me give you an example. You're always a part of a community of all human beings, right? And you should treat any other person, any other stranger like you have. as you would treat a human being. So if you are treating someone differently, right, there's some problem. You need to treat him as a human being, as a community. If there is a teacher who is teaching you and he's being rude to you, that it should not be like that. You should treat him like a human being and he should treat you like a human being. If you do not like that community, you can get out of that community. You can get out of that school, or kind of the smaller communities that you have. You will always be a part of this bigger human community, but you have these smaller communities. Like if you have piano classes, you have community of that. If you have tuitions, you have community of that. If you have school, you have community of that. So these are the communities. Like basically in my life, you may have some different communities, right? I don't know about that. And it talks about contribution to others. How can we contribute to the community as a whole? How can we contribute to people? How can we help them out in their ways? It talks about that. It's a very great book. And yeah, it's a very interesting take on life. Yeah, and it also changed my life and also changed my core beliefs into different thinking. So yeah, it's a very great book and it did provide life changing advice. So yeah, great. Thank you. Bye.